incredible day here at the Nonprofit Marketing Summit. Give it up in the chat. I want to see some hands clapping. I hope you're excited for this session because I certainly am. I think my my video is off. And I am so excited. I've been looking forward to this session all week. The Minimalist Marketer, how nonprofits can do more with less, from the one, the only, Julia Campbell. Get excited, get hyped up in the chat. I am so excited for this session. Thank you for being here at the Nonprofit Marketing Summit. I hope you are getting a ton of value out of these sessions today. I do want to invite you to book some time to chat with our team of digital marketing experts because we would love to help you adapt and thrive in 2025. And I am so proud to present Julia Campbell to you all. She is named as a top thought leader and one to follow by Forbes and LinkedIn for nonprofits, and one of the 30 nonprofit IT influencers to follow in 2024. Julia Campbell is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to designing social media and storytelling strategies that help nonprofits share their mission across the digital landscape. An international keynote speaker and host of the acclaimed Nonprofit Nation podcast. She's written 2 books for nonprofits on social media and storytelling, and her online courses, webinars, and talks have helped hundreds of nonprofits make the shift to digital thinking. Julia has been part of, I think, every summit that I'm aware of. So I am so excited to welcome Julia back. I also personally, I've known Julia for, I think it's close to like 8 years now, maybe more. And I look up to Julia. She's just such a delight. And Julia, I'm just so thankful to have you here today. Thanks for joining us.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that really nice introduction and all of the energy. I'm just so excited. I'm pretty sure I've been part of every Community Boost Summit for sure since the start of this, whole thing. So it's just lovely to be here with all of you. So if you'll excuse me, I do have a cold. It's the never-ending winter. I live in Boston. It is like 57 degrees today, so hopefully the winter is going away. Hopefully, like healthy times are on the horizon. Yay, throws confetti. Oh, I listened to her podcast during my commute. This is so exciting. That's amazing. Yeah, I really love my podcast. Candace, I'm gonna have you back on it. So let's get started. Excuse me. Let's get started with the slides. We have a lot to cover today. There are some, there's the Q&A availability right under the chat. If you look at the chat where the chat is, and then there is a Q&A box. It's almost just easier to help kind of figure out what is a question and what is a comment and what is feedback. But I will make sure to get to as many questions as I can during this session. Candace did already a fantastic introduction for me, so I'm not going to really introduce myself, but I come from the sector. I have been a nonprofit development and marketing director. I've sort of worn all the hats and worked in all of the different departments. I've been pretty much everything except for like a founder. Excuse me. So I am a board member. I've been a director of development, marketing, volunteer coordinator, program coordinator, kind of everything in between. So if you are a very small shop, a shop of one, come from a very small community-based nonprofit, I've been in your shoes. So the question that I receive all the time, because I do a lot of trainings on social media, specifically storytelling, digital marketing, digital fundraising, and oftentimes I get a question, well, okay, how do we know what to focus on? And if we are a small shop or a shop of one person, how can we possibly do everything? So I created the Minimalist Marketing Framework, which is what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to walk through it. And in the framework, it shows you how to choose the most effective platforms for you and your goals. I'm going to show you some simplified content creation strategies and tools. And then there'll be a Google Doc that you can sort of download, make a copy of, minimalist marketing plan that you can implement immediately. Okay, I love Slido. So get out your phones, or you can actually do this on your desktop or your laptop, wherever you're watching. You just go to slido.com, SLIDO.com, and type in that number, 3297430. And then you will see, hopefully you will be able to see a form that says, what is your biggest marketing challenge? Okay, I can see 6 participants typing, and it should show up here. Oh, budget. Yep, not enough time to do everything. Not enough time to complete everything. Social media, team of 1, reaching the right demographic, improving time to forward plan. I don't have a team. Yeah, budget is always huge. Manpower, time, training, that's huge. That's why you're here, right? At the marketing summit, to get that training. Not enough time, too many things. Oh, starting from scratch after the position was vacant. That's sometimes really hard to do. Not a lot of support from the ED. I think a lot of people can really relate to that. Collaboration help, wearing too many hats, segmenting and personalization, identifying the right audience. Okay, so this gives me a very good idea of sort of where we're coming from. And also Slido is totally free, so you can use it in your presentations if you want. I love Slido. Oh, creativity and new ideas. That's a tough one as well. Oh, conflicting ideas. I love this. So today we're going to really probably touch on almost all of these different things. I wear all marketing hats. No role dedicated to marketing, no support from the manager, getting videos and pictures. Okay, well, let's, and also this is going to be going on. And if you want to continue to type and you want to continue to see what people are typing, we'll keep it up. Maybe we'll refer to it later. But I wanted to really explain, I think, what the real problem is that we are dealing with right now. So Facebook, right? How many of you, just type in the chat, have a Facebook page for your organization? I'm really willing to bet the majority of you do, right? So in, what was it, 2010, we were all told to get Facebook pages. So we all got Facebook pages, right? Then it was like, okay, well, Instagram came along, so maybe we should be on Instagram. And then, oh, but what about Twitter? We're kind of forgetting about Twitter. And then Twitter became X. And then Threads came along to kind of replace Twitter. So maybe we should be on Threads. We should be thinking about Threads. And then, of course, YouTube. I mean, YouTube is a really important channel. Number 2 search engine, owned by the number 1 search engine. What about Instagram Reels? What about Stories? What about Snapchat? And then TikTok. And then, oh my gosh, we totally forgot to update our LinkedIn profile and our LinkedIn company page. And then Twitch, which is a live streaming platform, more YouTube. And then what about our email newsletter? Should we have a blog? Big data, AI. You just want to move fast and break things. The problem with moving fast and breaking things is, if you notice, the people that say move fast and break things never have to clean up after themselves, right? So we're not going to move fast and break things. We're going to do it strategically. So this is going to sound familiar to you. And these are the challenges that I find a lot of my clients struggle with. And we're going to address these today. The random posting, like waking up on Monday and being like, what am I going to post? What am I going to send? Jumping on trends blindly without understanding if they fit you or your audience. Failure to regularly analyze performance, over reliance on automation, ignoring audience engagement, missing opportunities to build relationships. So you might have IDD. Now, I did not coin this term. This is Miko Marquette Whitlock. I actually just did a LinkedIn live with him, and he was on my podcast. He calls this intention deficit disorder. I absolutely love that. Are we being as proactive as possible, or are we simply being reactive? Now, the last time I was on the Community Boost Marketing Summit, or whatever the last time was when Seth Godin spoke, he said something that really stuck with me, and that is kind of my mantra for us today. You don't need more time. You need to decide. You don't need more time. You need to decide. So let's take that as our intention as we sort of move into the minimalist marketing framework. So what does minimalist marketing do? Well, it helps you prioritize. It helps you repurpose. It helps you use automation smartly. So we're not just kind of spraying out posts and hoping they work. Quality over quantity. So not just more and more and more and more and more, but higher quality. Because what I've been finding, especially lately, is that on the internet, you can't beat the internet on quantity. You can't like cut through the clutter just by posting more stuff, but you can beat it on quality, certainly right now. And then measuring what matters. So like a great example is like at the end of this, maybe you're posting on 5 social media platforms, but then maybe you want to switch to post on just 2, and then creating a an email newsletter that's going to go out twice a month, because that is going to be much more impactful. I'm not saying it will be, but you're going to have to do an evaluation yourself. But that means just being very intentional, doing things with meaning, doing things with actual like planning, and being more proactive than reactive. So the 3 things we'll talk about today: identify your marketing North Star. And this is really how and where are you going to spend your time? And then we can't get away from content creation. That's content fuels the marketing engine, whether it's social media, whether it's email, whether it's podcasting, whatever it is. Streamline content creation, and then measuring to improve, but be in a very, very simplified way. So I created for you, and I will put it in the chat. You're going to have to put you're going to have to copy it. So, I don't think you can see this. Okay, let's see. I can't put it on my screen, but you can all get into it. I see you getting into it. So it's not one page, but okay, the way that I get around it being one page is if you print it out double-sided. It's one page. I like saying one page because I think it sounds better than like your 10-page, marketing plan. Because that sounds very overwhelming. So this is your one-page marketing plan. And if you print it out on 2 sides. So you'll see, if you could click into it, it's defining your marketing North Star, which we will talk about, choosing your high impact activities, content simplification plan, eliminating or automating time wasters, metrics that matter, and then, what will you implement first? So hopefully I can like pull it up on my screen. Yeah, sorry that it's a Google Doc, but I love Google Docs because then you can just, first of all, share with your team, or you can just make a copy and easily share it. Cool. Okay, so let's keep going. So hopefully you'll be able to grab a copy of that, and we'll talk about that later. So step 1 of this whole process, how to identify your marketing North Star. Now, your marketing North Star is really going to help you when it comes to being intentional about your activities. And it sounds simple, but it involves, defining clear marketing goals, aligning goals with your mission. So choosing a marketing goal that directly supports your organizational goals. So if your mission is to protect the environment, and that is part of your organizational mission this year, then your North Star goal might be growing an email list of advocates to support petitions and policy change. If your organizational goal this year is increasing revenue, your North Star might focus on donor retention through improved email communication. So an action step for you, if you do have it pulled up on your screen, or you can just write it down really quickly on a piece of paper, I want you all to think about this question. Our success depends on specific marketing outcome, which will help us achieve bigger mission goal. Now, a lot of the time you're going to say your mission, you're going to say your goal is, raising awareness, or raising more money, or we don't want to be the best kept secret anymore, or we want more visibility. Those are very vague goals. It's sort of like saying, okay, I want to, get healthy in the new year. Well, healthy means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Raising awareness means a lot of different things. Raising more money means a lot of different things. So when you have done this action step, our success depends on specific marketing outcome, which will help us achieve bigger mission goal. Then you can make it a SMART goal: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. That's going to help you really know if you've accomplished this goal. And I know we have 10 million different goals, but if we're talking about marketing, let's focus on a marketing goal, getting the word out, spreading the word. Like if more people knew about us, what could we achieve? So I sort of a bad goal. I hate saying bad and good, but I was like really not being able to figure out adjectives here. But grow social media. That's okay. That's not really specific. But a better goal is to increase Instagram engagement by 20% in 6 months to drive volunteer signups. That's more specific. Improve fundraising. Okay. Well, we can use marketing to market our monthly donor program. So hopefully maybe our goal is increase monthly donors by 25% by the end of the year. So your action step for this one is to turn your goal into a smart statement with numbers and a deadline. And we just want to focus really on one right now. If you have multiple programs, if you have multiple organizational goals, but we have to remember all of those things that you said that you typed in. No budget, no time, you're a one-person shop. We have to remember that saying yes to something means saying no to something else. And there's really only so much time in the day that we can use to do all of these things. So how do we determine what's worth our time and where we are spending our time? Well, I don't usually like graphics like this because they kind of almost give me a panic attack a little bit. But this is what happens every minute of the day on the internet. This is happening. So we cannot possibly think that we can compete with every single piece of this equation. We can't compete on every single platform. We can't be on every single platform. We can't be doing all the things, and we honestly shouldn't be. So I want you to take some time to evaluate your current platforms. I do this with my clients. I do audits and assessments. We thoroughly audit the website, the blog, if there is a blog, email newsletters, and social media channels to really figure out what's going on and where is the biggest kind of bang for our buck here. Does this platform contribute to our goal? Is our target audience actually there? Are we seeing, X, Y, Z, whatever conversion we want from this effort? And then number 4 is actually really important. Can our team realistically manage this platform or strategy consistently? And I'm doing a panel at 4:00 with some social media superstars in the nonprofit sector for this summit. And Kate Myers Emery from Candid, they did an entire experiment around short form video and reels and TikTok. And I'm hoping she's going to talk about it during the panel. But a big question they were asking, can our team realistically manage this platform? So it's not about like, we're going to do it. It's about, we're going to evaluate that as a piece of the puzzle. Can we effectively compete on this platform? And then look at your industry trends. And, I hate really the word competitors, but look at who else is competing for attention. Are other nonprofits in your space really succeeding on certain platforms? And are some channels oversaturated while others have room for growth? This is where we do have to take the time to really evaluate what we're doing. You don't have to do this every month. You don't have to do that. You can do this like once a year, but this is going to help you figure out if you're putting all of your eggs in the right basket. So this is your decision-making checklist, what to keep versus drop, right? So keep it if it is mission aligned. Keep it if your audience is there. Keep it if it leads to donations, if it leads to actual fundraising might not be your North Star, but if it leads to whatever your North Star goal is. If your team can manage it consistently with minimal stress, that is such a key piece of this. And if your nonprofit can stand out and connect with your audience. And then people ask me all the time, how do I know if I should be on this social media platform? How do I know if I should still be using this? I just say you got to follow your gut. You have to trust your gut here. If it's disconnected from your nonprofit's purpose or it goes against your values and mission, then you might want to consider dropping it. If your audience isn't there, certainly. If it doesn't really generate action, if it requires too much effort or you feel lost in a crowded space, that's the time that you might need to evaluate dropping certain platforms. You could also apply the two-way test. So once you've evaluated the platforms and strategies, apply this simple test. If it checks at least 3 out of the 5 criteria on that list, then keep it and double down. If it checks 2 or fewer, drop it and refocus your energy. So, when I say drop it, you don't have to delete your accounts and completely like leave forever. It might just mean pause. It might just mean recalibrate. It might just mean uh, something else. Oh, someone wants to unpin the Google Doc. I don't know how to do that. I didn't pin it. I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry. Okay, well we'll try to get that. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Yeah, I know. I just run the slides here, people. So I think that truly the question that we are also asking is how to streamline content creation. So content creation, I was hoping I could show you ChatGPT. I might have to unshare and share my screen again because it's just sharing my slides. But I really want to I want to share with you some ways that you can use it. But there are so many different ways to repurpose the content that you already have and not reinvent the wheel every single time. So your job is not to create content. I don't see our job is to create content. We are not content creators. I mean, we are because we are technically posting and emailing and writing and making videos and things like that, but we're not really content creators. That's not our full-time job. We're not like a YouTube star where that's their full-time job. Our job is to create connection. And your job is not to create reach. It's to create resonance. This is what's so important is we get so focused on reach, we get so focused on numbers, we get so focused on vanity metrics that we don't focus on resonating. And this is a pie chart that I share a lot because we need to sort of refocus the purpose of our content and what we're sharing and focus it on our audience. So if you look at the 80% of what we're creating should be interacting, educating, inspiring, entertaining, and connecting. And then 20% can be promotion. So the promotion still does have to be relevant, but we cannot just focus all of our content creation on promotions. Content topics. Create a list, do a Google Doc or Apple Notes or literally a notebook with a pen and paper of content topics and ideas. This is so important because this is what's going to prevent you from waking up Monday morning and saying, what am I going to post about? Because you're going to have a notebook of ideas, things that you've seen, examples from other nonprofits that you really liked, that you think you could do, right? Stories, statistics, behind the scenes, upcoming events, milestones, cause and awareness days, news stories, like headlines that are relevant to your industry and your cause, how-to posts, inspirational quotes, all of that is really, really great to have in your content bank or have in your ideas. The key questions, how does this content or story get your audience to care, like, and trust you? What's going to make them think? What is going to fill knowledge gaps, address myths and misconceptions, and what's going to inspire them? So those are some questions to ask when creating audience-centric content, which is what we want to focus on. Now, if you want to make this really simple, what are the 3 most common questions that people ask you about your work, or that your donors ask, or your volunteers ask? And how can you turn these questions into content that never goes stale, which is evergreen content? So what I like to do, I have a content creation strategy that's actually pretty simple, shockingly. I create one piece of weekly core content. For me, it's either a LinkedIn Live, which I then repurpose into a podcast episode, or it's a podcast episode. So I create a podcast episode and then I'll show you how I sort of repurpose it. But your core content, it could be a very short blog post. It could be an event announcement. It could be an email newsletter. For me, I like to do the same piece, the same type of content every single week. For you, you could change it up. And then you can see how you can repurpose it, right? So summarize the key points into an engaging email, bite-sized post with key takeaways, a short video explaining the topic, infographic with statistics, use the content as a foundation for LinkedIn Live, do an FAQ sheet. So you don't have to do all of these things, but they're rather than create totally different stories and collect a bunch of different stories and statistics and data for all of these different formats, why not have one piece of content, one question you're answering every week, and then repurpose it into different formats? And then you distribute it across channels. So rescue.org, they created this fantastic carousel post. How do I talk to my friends and family about why humanitarian aid matters? They made a video, they made a blog post, they did an email. They just really recreated it. And actually, I need to invite them on my podcast because I want to have them on my podcast about this. But if you have a checklist that you use every week where you're like, okay, like this is for me, my podcast comes out on Wednesdays. That's my content that I create every week. I have a checklist. I send an email. I put it on my blog. I put it on my Facebook page. I put it in my Facebook groups. I have a promotions checklist that I can just look at every week and very easily repurpose the content. You don't need to be everywhere, but please don't be reinventing the wheel every time. ChatGPT and generative AI can really, really help with this. So actually, I'm not going to do too much of a demonstration because we'll get too in the weeds with ChatGPT, but it's such a way for you to save time and maximize creativity. So I use it for writer's block, for research, for data analysis, for marketing optimization. If you have not used generative AI, you've probably heard of it at least. I know there are some sessions in this summit about it, but there are many different tools. There's Claude and Perplexity and Gemini, and I don't know, there's millions of them. I just happen to use Chat GPT. I look at it as a marketing intern. This is how I look at it, right? Pretend you have an intern. For those of you that would love a marketing intern, artificial intelligence can be your marketing intern. It can help you research trends, research your competitors, look at audience insights. It can take a first crack at drafting social posts, emails, and blogs. It can put one content piece into 5 different formats, and it can help you track performance and recommend improvements. So if you start thinking about it not as like, oh, it's going to take away my job, or I'm not going to be creative anymore, or it's going to plagiarize the internet, I think about it as a marketing intern to do all of the things that I don't have time to do. And I don't have an intern or an assistant. So I just turn to AI to do a lot of those things. It does work best. Think about any kind of intern or employee. It works best when you give it information, clear instructions, examples. If you explain your North Star, if you explain your audience, if you explain what you're trying to achieve, the intent of the task, works really well. And if you give it feedback on each draft. So really framing it as your marketing intern, and it's going to help you do more with so much less. So some things that your marketing intern can do. These are it's a long list, but these are just some ideas, and I encourage you to play around with it and see what's going to work best for you. I like sometimes if I have a very, very long blog post or a long email newsletter that I wrote, it can turn it into 5 bite-sized LinkedIn posts. You know, you can ask your intern to write an appeal based on best practices. You can take any kind of content, generate a blue sky thread, a blog summary, an infographic, scripts for video explainers. Like, what's a really great hook for an Instagram reel on XYZ topic? That is a great way to use an intern to do the research for you. Generate a script for a thank you video. I mean, these are all just examples. I think researching hashtags is a great one, suggesting best posting times. turning a long form infographic into carousel posts. So just think about it. If you had a marketing team, what are all these things you could do? What are these things that you want a marketing team to do for you? And I bet you that your AI intern can help you. So what are some sort of sample prompts that you can use? I just gave you a handful because there's a million. A prompt is what you enter into the tool. It's sort of like Google. You enter a term into Google for Google search. You enter a prompt, a question, or a task into ChatGPT. But of course, giving it that context, telling it your North Star, telling it about your audience, telling it what you want it to achieve. Just think of it like an assistant. Say you had an assistant come into your office and you'd never met them and they'd never talked to you. And you said, okay, write me a fundraising letter. That's not the way it works in the real world. And I don't think that's the way it should work with your AI intern. They need that context. They need to understand the intent, the purpose, and the sort of the nuances of your nonprofit. So here are just some sample prompts you can enter in. One that I do really like is ideas. Like, come up with a list of creative ways to promote our Giving Tuesday campaign. And I guarantee you, like 5 of them you'll really like maybe 10 you won't. Write Facebook ad copy. Facebook ad copy, that's another really fantastic way you can use it. Compelling fundraising campaigns, ideas for subject lines. So you could say, here are, we used this subject line last week. It didn't really work. Can you help me improve it? Can you give me some ideas for improvement? So it's really a supportive tool. It's not here to replace human creativity. It's to streamline marketing efforts. It's to free up our time for more relationship building and strategic thinking. And then, of course, it goes without saying, always review it to make sure it aligns with your mission and voice. Okay. Okay. So we have, we've got about 10, 15 more minutes. I want to talk about measurement for a little bit because it is step 3 in the framework. And then I can get to some questions. So with minimalist measurement, it's really defining what to track, what matters, and not getting bogged down in analytics overload, which is something I do not want for you. So go back to your marketing goal, choose 2 to 3 key metrics that directly relate to your goal. Avoid, vanity metrics that just look good, but they don't necessarily push the needle on your goal. And then a simple tracking system. A Google spreadsheet could be enough with 3 little rows of, email open rate, Facebook engagement, whatever it is that you want to measure. I really recommend 2 to 3 metrics because if you choose more than that, you're probably less likely to actually be consistent in your measurement and you're going to get overwhelmed. So these are just some sample metrics for you in marketing. Yours may vary. Website traffic, reach, email subscribers, social media comments, open and click-through rates. Yours are going to be a little bit different. So like say you're running a volunteer campaign, you want to do a marketing campaign to get more volunteers. Well, then you're going to see what the website traffic is to your volunteer form and how many people filled out the form. Where did they come from? Which social media platforms drove the most form signups, that kind of thing. And how to track success without getting bogged down. Well, keep it incredibly, incredibly simple. Use the free tools that are available to you on the back end of all of these websites. Set a monthly check-in, focus on trends over time, not one-off spikes or dips. I think that's really, really important. And remember the Pareto principle. So the Pareto principle suggests that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. So, which 20% of your marketing efforts are driving 80% of your results? This is absolutely imperative for us to understand and to analyze. And the impact effort matrix, okay? The impact effort matrix, the high impact, low effort sort of activities, the high impact, high effort activities, low impact, low effort, low impact, high effort. So when you're deciding on your activities, you can put them into this matrix and really see, okay, this is high impact. This takes a lot of work, but it actually is going to get me big results. It's sort of like doing a webinar or doing a keynote on stage. That's high impact, high effort, but high results. Low impact, low effort. Well, that's sort of like, okay, commenting on Instagram. Maybe I don't have to do that this week. Maybe if I have extra time. So that's just a little helpful framework for you. So you do have the plan. Some common concerns, the fear of missing out, FOMO, board and donor expectations. And I know a lot of you might be faced with pressure to add more and more and more and more and more, constantly do more to your marketing efforts. So I do want to share the power of saying no strategically, right? The power of saying no. When you say yes to something else, you have to say no to something else. So a new social media platform is trending. Here's the questions to ask. Here's how to say no effectively. A board member suggests a big idea. Does this align with our North Star goal? Do we have the resources? Someone asks for extra marketing reports. Does this data actually help decision making? Posting daily on every platform. Is this effort leading to real engagement or conversions? So how to say no effectively, important skill. Your minimalist marketing toolkit. I'm not going to go over these. These are just some, Hootsuite, Metricool, very cool for scheduling, Canva, CapCut, for video creation. Unfold is great for reels, Linktree for charities. These are some of the tools that I like to use. And really my best advice for you is done is better than perfect, right? Shiny new tools come and go. Focus on your strategy. Focus on building a real community that will follow you no matter where you set up shop. And done is so much better than perfect. All right. I want to hear from you. What is the one action you are going to take this week? Type it into the chat. Oh, the board member question raises my blood pressure. Yes, I think so too. Yay. I'll reevaluate our platforms. Trying to get my AD to agree on one priority, content topics, setting some goals. Going to expand GPT's job description. I love it. I love it so much. Oh, okay. So I have about 10 more minutes. Yay. Okay, because we started a little bit late. So I do have 10 more minutes for questions. Define our North Star, audit our social media, the impact effort matrix. Analyze success. I love that. That's so great. Talk to trusted contacts of my one person shop. Perfect. Wonderful. Oh, I love this. Okay. Fantastic. Evaluating priorities, developing a clear checklist, work on my one-page plan. Work with my ID and the board to determine strategic goals that will guide my plan. I think that is absolutely amazing.
Julia,
one solid
this
piece
has
of
been
content.
So sorry.
Yes.
I didn't
Oh
cut
no,
you
I'm just
off.
reading everybody's slides.
I love
Everybody's
all
slides,
the
everybody's action item.
There's so many great action items here. There's also a ton of questions. Would you like to take a few questions?
I would. One last thing, if you want to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn, have my podcast, have my website. But yeah, I would love to connect. I would love to connect with everybody, but I would love to take some questions.
All right. Julia, this has been one of my favorite sessions. I just love how you make these things so applicable for organizations. There's so many small organizations or small teams. So I so appreciate all of these. These are things that even I myself will be implementing after this. So thanks again, Julia. Give it up for Julia in the chat. I want to see all the love
all
for
of
Julia.
you.
Definitely follow Julia on LinkedIn as well. If you didn't get the chance, we'll put it in the chat. Follow Julia Campbell. And also, Julia's sticking around for another session in just a few moments. So I do want to be
the
mindful
panel.
of that.
I'm so excited. That is going to be rockstar panel.
I can't wait for the panel too. So, I mean, I wish I could join you on that panel as well. There's so many great panelists joining, but I have a few great questions here already queued up.
Yeah.
So let me make my screen a little bit bigger because I'm having trouble reading people's names. But
I just
Caitlin
asked, I
asked,
love
I've
your
heard.
video. I love the video promoting this conference.
Oh,
I love the
thanks.
costumes. I love a costume moment. So anytime I can wear see you in an 80s outfit is always a good day.
It was so much fun to do. It was like such a fun moment
Yeah.
that, I usually my other team does it, but it worked out that I was able to do it this time. So it was really fun.
Yeah.
Um, Caitlin asked, I've heard in this conference that you should post to social accounts every day. Is that your recommendation?
No, I don't think so. So it does depend on the platform. So if your goal is I want to reach a younger audience on TikTok, then posting every day on TikTok, you might want to do that. But something like Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, you don't need to be posting every day. You need to have a strategy for each platform where you are posting. So there's no one size fits all. So like your Facebook strategy could be we post 3 to 4 times a week on Facebook. Instagram, we post twice a week on Instagram. LinkedIn, maybe we post twice a week. So every platform has to have that kind of like individualized strategy, because it depends on the nature of the platform and also what you're trying to do there, who you're trying to reach. And
Yeah,
the
and
algorithms have
Sarah,
changed dramatically. Yes.
yeah, I feel like it's always shifting, right? So I think it's like
Yeah.
really important to keep in touch with like where are the algorithms favoring things at the moment, which brings me to our next question from Sarah, which is
Yeah.
how do you balance intentionality while appeasing the algorithm to get seen?
Well, intentionality is going to help you, because if you are just putting up something because you have to put something up without understanding the algorithm and without understanding what your audience wants intentionally, then it's going to kind of fall flat. So, using intentionality means looking at what's working right now and looking at what other organizations are doing, what creators are doing, and seeing how your content can kind of fit into that mold. So, like candid.org, they're going to talk about this on the panel. They did a fantastic job on Reels because they saw that how to posts were doing really well. So, they were answering questions like, how do I find grants to apply for? Or how do I, what was it? How do I get more board members engaged or something like that? So they were following that trend of how to content, but using their content to get seen, and they've done a really great job with that.
Yeah, and I think like there's so much more that we can cover in that
Yeah.
panel discussion. So I do want to let you get over there in a few minutes, but
Oh
two
yeah,
more
sure.
quick question.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
maybe one not so quick question and then a quick question. Maria asks, we have had trouble keeping our audience engaged. What is your advice on social media content and creating content diversity? So posting direct asks versus fun content versus educational content. Any tips for people that are really looking to engage their audience with different types of media?
Right now, it does have to be complete, pretty much audience focused. I know Hootsuite, they did a fantastic report. If you just Google it, Hootsuite 2025 nonprofit social media trends. And what they found is that entertaining content is always going to work best. So it doesn't need to be like a cat video or a dance video, but it needs to grab my attention. Maybe it's a story. Maybe it's a how-to post. Maybe it's a statistic. Maybe it's answering a question that I have. So, 80% of what you're sharing really does need to be focused on your audience. What do they want to see and hear from you in terms of your mission? And then 20% can be promotional, but promotional content is not going to get seen and
Mhm.
engaged with as much as content that's not promotional, unless you're paying for ads, which is a
Yeah.
whole nother ball of wax.
Well, what's kind of fun is if you have really engaging content and then you do decide to run ads at some point to like really further engage that audience, like you can always retarget the people who already engage with your organic content. So organic is
Yeah,
always the way to
yeah,
go because it already builds that audience for you. And
exactly.
then our top rated question is would love to get the slides to discuss with my board. Can you share? So we'll provide everyone who attended so that you're able to connect with Julia further. But yeah, how do you feel about sharing your presentation? Because
Oh,
it's so
sure.
great.
I can put them up on I can put them on my website. So if you want to, let me see. You won't have to like sign up, but that's just a place I can keep them. So I will do that actually after the panel. So if you just bookmark my website, I'll put them up on my blog, and I'm happy to do that.
All right.
And I can send them to you too, Candace.
Yeah, send them to me and we can disperse them too on your behalf. So feel free. And then I would love to get that out to everyone here. This has been such a valuable session.
Yay.
I just have a quick question for you because I
Yeah.
can't help it. Are you having like a ton of fun with any specific platform at the moment? Do you have a favorite platform right now?
I'm actually having a really hard time with social media right now. It's not like the best answer. I'm really kind of struggling with um I'm just seeing a lot of negativity on there. I think my favorite platform right now is LinkedIn, and that's the one that I've been seeing a lot of like thought provoking things that are interesting to me. So it's not like my bubble, but nothing that's making me like incredibly angry. So I just I think LinkedIn is a great place for me right now, professionally.
Yeah. Well, on that note, follow Julia Campbell on LinkedIn, stay in
Yes,
touch. And
that's where
thank
I
you so
spend
much,
most of my
Julia,
time.
for this session.
Yay.
Awesome. Give it up for Julia in the chat. I want to see all the love for Julia. Thank you again. And go